When Ephraim saw his sickness, and Judah his wound, then Ephraim went to Assyria and sent to the great king, but he is not able to cure you. Hosea chapter 5, verse 13. Have you looked for help in places other than God? Have you valued the wisdom of the world over the wisdom of God? Today, I'm at Lachish, an important archaeological site. During biblical times, Lachish was one of the most important cities in Jerusalem. Here, archaeologists have discovered Canaanite temples from 1500 to 1200 BC and the ruins of a palace attributed to King Rehoboam. They also found a huge siege ramp that was built by the Assyrians during King Hezekiah's reign. The Assyrians used this ramp to enter the city. They built the ramp to the top of the wall so that they could invade and conquer Lachish. This week in our journey through Hosea, we will learn how the northern kingdom of Israel actually sought help from the powerful but ruthless kingdom of Assyria. Instead of crying out to the covenant God of love, they turned to other nations for help. Like Gomer, who rejected Hosea's love and turned to another man for strength and protection, Israel rejected God's love and turned to other nations. Hosea warned the people of the foolishness of this plan. He told them, when Ephraim saw his sickness and Judah his wound, then Ephraim went to Assyria and sent to the great king. But he is not able to cure you or heal your wound. Ephraim is like a dove, silly and without sense, calling to Egypt, going to Assyria. King Hosea, not to be confused with the prophet Hosea, was the last king of Israel. King Hosea was actually a puppet king of the Assyrians. He only retained his rule because he sent tribute to King Tiglath-Pileser of the Assyrians. When Tiglath-Pileser died, Hosea thought he could get out of this tribute, and he sent to Egypt for help, but Egypt never came to his aid. In the end, all of Israel's attempts to find help from other nations failed. Assyria gradually took over cities and territories within the northern kingdom, and during King Hosea's reign, it totally defeated the northern kingdom and carried off many of its residents to Assyria. Why couldn't the Israelites see the wisdom of going to God instead of to other nations for help? I guess they're a lot like us. No, we don't go to the Assyrians for help, but we might look to our bank accounts instead of God when we're in trouble. We might try a little retail therapy to boost our spirits. We might turn to self-help books for wisdom. We might even try to find comfort in a bowl of ice cream. I don't know about you, but I tend to forget to go to God when I forget who God is. Hosea called out to the people, "Let us know, let us press on to know the Lord. His going out is sure as the dawn. He will come to us as the showers, as the spring rains that water the earth." Hosea 6:6. Hosea tells his neighbors and us, let us continue to push on to know the Lord. Let's not settle for a superficial relationship. When you know him as well as you know your best friend or your spouse, then you will remember just how reliable he is. At times I forget just how strong God is, that He created the universe. I forget how much He cares for me, that He numbered the hair on my head. I forget how much He loves me, that He sent His only Son to die for me and rescue me. And it's when I forget those things that I start to try to figure out things on my own. That's when I go to my bank account for help and my closet for a little validation about my appearance. It's when I go to social media for a little boost to my self-worth. And of course, just as the Assyrians did not come to help Israel and all of Israel's attempts to find strength in foreign nations failed, so my money and social media will always let me down. So let's pursue a deeper knowledge of God, because the better that we know Him, the more we will trust in His constancy. He's as sure as the daily event of the sun rising. He's as reliable as the yearly spring rains in Israel. He continually brings light to our hearts and refreshment to our weary souls. The better that we know God, the more we will rely on His relentless love.